So welcome back to our intermediate Saturday sampler block here at Close to Home in Southington for the month of May 2023. You can begin to pick up May's block beginning this Friday, May 12th at 10 a.m. Be sure to bring your completed April block in by May 31st to receive May's kit free. We are having Bernina long arm quilting machines and Arrow chairs on sale now. Very low pricing. Just come into the store and we'd be happy to talk to you about them. Also, we have many new classes out on our web at www.closetohomestores.com. Some of the classes that we have to offer are the twisted tray, the bitty bag, and the patchwork mini duffel, which I have here. I'd like to show you these. The bitty bag is just a small version of the Mondo, the midi, and then now we have the bitty bag. We have a twister tray. There are many different sizes of twister rulers out there. The twister, the little twister, the midi twister. I believe this one's a mini twister. But that's a great class coming up, also in June, and a great size patchwork duffel mini bag for you to put your items in. So that's a fun class as well. We also have 3 types of quilting classes. Memorial weekend, we're doing a scrap cross roads quilt, and that will be on a Saturday. We have free motion quilting if you want to dabble in a little bit of doing your own free motion. And of course we have a 5-week beginning quilting class set up for July and August. So we hope you continue to look at our website and check it frequently because many classes are getting added. Okay, so let's start. Let's get right into the May's block. We're doing a tumbler block. The tumblers are 2 inches high, finished, and we're going to need 9 tumblers to go across every row. So we're going to have 6 rows because they finish at 2. So 6 rows, 9 tumblers. This, from the bottom to the top, will be a 12.5-inch block, unfinished of course, but the outsides will be a little wider because of these tumblers, and so we're just going to trim it with our 12.5-inch square. All right, so easy peasy. We're using all 6 of our intermediate fabrics for this block this month. Every strip that you get in your kit, you will be cutting 2.5 inches. So in order to get a 2.5-inch tumbler shape, we're going to be using our Starburst 30 ruler, and there is a tumbler in here. So how I'm going to show you a really easy way to mark your tumbler, the 2.5-inch section, is to take the glow line tape and we're going to mark where we should be placing these. So at the 1 3/4, so on this white line at 1 3/4, so we're going to place our tape along the bottom, and then we're going to go up to 4 1/4, and we have this dashed white line, so we're going to place our tape on the outside of this. So we're going to have our tape here, and it's going to be so easy for us to see exactly what we're doing. All right, so let's put that on the 1 3/4. This is called glow line tape, and it's great for all your rulers. It sticks and then it comes right off. So I'm looking at the 1 3/4. So here is 1 3/4. I gotta get it on straight though. Sorry. And I like to place it just below the line. Just cut this. Okay, we're gonna cut it. Try to rip it. All right, so 1 3/4. See the 3/4? So I want that little dashed line to show, and I also want the 4 1/4, which is up here. So here is our 2.5 inch high template. All right, so you're going to mark these. And you can use any color you're looking for. And this tape really does come off nice and easy, so you don't have to think that you got to leave it on your creative grid rulers. But for any other rulers that you happen to be looking at and you need to locate the size, it's a really quick and easy way to see that. All right, so I've cut my strips 2.5. You notice that between my two pieces of glow line tape, I have my white line here and white line here. We're going to cut these into 9 tumbler shapes. So I've already done 3 colors, so I'm just gonna stack these right on top of each other and get them right together. And we're gonna go ahead and, so we've marked our ruler, and now we're going to cut our shapes. All right, so the easiest way to do this is just start at one end. Make sure if you want to do 1 strip at a time, by all means you can do that. I'm going to try to do 3, and I'm going to put my strip right on the inside of right on this dashed line, which is 4 1/4, and the top or bottom of my strip at 1 3/4. Maybe you can see that, and I'm exposing that little white dashed line so that I can easily place the white dashed lines along my strip. So we'll do this and go ahead and cut. So I'm going to cut in this direction, whoops, and then that direction. All right, so we have our little 2.5 inch tumblers. All we need to do, turn it around. I look for my little white lines between my glow tape and go ahead and cut another one. And we're going to keep going until we have 9 of these. We don't have to do that today in the video, but you will be doing that at home. So you're just going to continue to go 180-degree turns every time, matching up your 2.5 inch strip within those boundaries. Okay, so now that you have 54 tumblers, you can place them anywhere you want. Again, there's 9 in each row, and there's 6 rows. So what I did, just to make it easy, is I started with, let's just say, the multi. Oops, sorry. I started with the multi, and I continued with 1 of each of the colors. And then I started again with the multi and continued around the corner in the same sequence. And then the next 6, the next 6, and then those 3, then those 6, as you can see. All right, so once I've figured out how I'm going to place them, I need to sew them together. All right, so I'm going to start with a multi and a shortbread, or the cream. And when I place these 2 tumblers, 1 up, 1 down, both right sides up, I want to offset these by 1/4 inch. So I'm going to put this one up here and this one down here, so that the tip of this one, this little V intersection right here, is exactly 1/4 inch. It's very important that you start and stop in that 1/4 inch, and it comes out at this point as well. So I'm just offsetting them very tiny to get that 1/4 inch. So you might want to do a couple of them, check them. But we're going to go ahead and sew these together, and we're just going to keep adding a few. All right. keep those edges right together using my 1/4 inch foot and making sure it comes out right at that little intersection. I can keep going and do, 5 more of these if I need to, or 9 more of these. So I'm not going to keep pressing, but the goal is to have these go straight across. And if you hit that intersection with that little point coming up here, you're gonna make a nice straight row. Okay, so the next one I need is a purple. I'll go grab a purple. And I'll do a couple more for you just so that we're all on the same page. So here's my purple. As I place it on my shortbread, I'm going to have a little bit of the point come up underneath here and a little bit of the point overlapping at the bottom here. So I have this little V and this little V. Okay, let's go sew those. There's no real science. If you want to draw a line on them, you can, but again, that goes right, as you can see, right into that little crook. And this one comes out. And of course, you'll be doing many chain piecing of these. And then I'm just going to finger press this in that direction. And again, nice straight line going across the bottom, nice straight line going across the top. Okay, so we've cut our tumblers, we've sewn our rows together in whichever way you want, as long as you have 9 across and you have 6 rows. The next thing to do is to press every other row in different directions. So this row is going to get pressed this way. As you can see, I've already pressed it to that direction. And this row is going to be pressed in that direction, which you see I've already pressed. Okay, and these I've done the same way. That was pressed that way, and then to my left, this one to my right, and this one to my left. So now we're going to start sewing our rows together. So I want to try to get this to lock in, these seams to lock as I go along. And again, I'm not pinning, but if you feel the need to pin, by all means, it's perfectly fine. So I'm going to grab my point, and we're going to start there. Okay. Another thing I found when I put my rows together is to sew the rows at a scant 1/4 inch, a couple threads shy of a true 1/4 inch. I just find with the bulk, it makes it more reasonable at a 12.5 inch square. Sorry. So we can try that. All right, so we're going to go along, and first thing I'm going to do is, after I get started, I needle down, and then I'm going to take my 2 seams. One is pressed this way, one is pressed that way in opposite directions, and I'm just going to kind of rub them together until they lock into place. And I'll sew up until that one. And we'll stop there. And then I'll do the same. I have this seam and this seam, and I'm just going to rub them together on top of each other until it falls right next to the other one. And we're going to lock that one. This will hopefully get those points to line up a little bit better. So I'm going to take this one and this one, just kind of rub them together until they drop into place. And again, you can almost hear them snap into location. Little stop and start, stop and start. More to do, and then I'm going to show you what to do when they're all sewn together. All right, so these three need to be sewn together and then trimmed. All right. So now that I have this one, I'll go ahead and sew it to this one. And again, the seams are opposite, so let's go do this one. Quickly. All right. Take each seam one at a time and continue down the row, locking each seam as you go. Pressing is key. That's why I use Mary Ellen's Best Press on my kit before I cut them. Very, very important to have nice stable fabrics because you have a lot of angles on this particular block. Okay. And we'll do one more. We'll press and then we'll cut. So we have that one. And then our last row. I think we've done tumblers in the past, but I believe they were 3 inches high. So we only did 4 rows, I think of maybe 7 tumblers. It's a little more labor intensive, but it looks really pretty. A couple more. Make sure my iron is on. All right. Again, you can really arrange them in any way that you'd like. All right, so we're going to take this over, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to press it all in one direction, trying to keep these rows pressed the way they were meant to go. Okay, so this could potentially come out very nice. All right, so when I'm pressing, I typically would hold the iron on my lowest row and just give this, see how much, see it goes from like 12 inches hopefully to 12 and a half, just like that. And I go to the left to follow my pressing, and then I'll go to the right to follow my next row, and then to the left, and hopefully I won't flip any of my seams as I press. Okay, then I'll do this one. Hold it, give it a little bit of a pull, and I'll go left, and then to the right a little bit. And again, I kind of use a dry iron. I find that it just gets hot, and I don't typically need all that steam. Okay. And the last one. Okay, let's Let's go check, see how close to 12 and a half. I might have to come back and maybe give it a little extra tug, maybe if it's not quite 12 and a half. I might have to press this one more time. So I'll lay my ruler down on the 12 and a half. So the top of the strip should be just at 12 and a half. It looks great. So I'm looking now at these outward pieces, and I'm going to just center my block. If it's a ½ inch over here and a ½ inch over here, that's what I'm looking for. Okay, and that looks pretty good. I have about, let's see, what do I have? That's about right. Look up here, I have about the same amount. I look down here, I have about the same amount. Looks great. I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to come around. That's too much. Too much to go backwards. Alright, and there is your 12 and a half unfinished block for May. Alright, glad you could join us. Remember, come on in, check out our Bernina long arms, sign up for some classes. We are fully open, and we're here to have some fun. So come on in. Thanks again for watching.